Welcome back to another edition of Music Monday from the podcast Nurture the Mind. I am your host, Cole Poots, and we have yet again another music reaction. And what else is there to say? It is Earl Sweatshirt season. Earl Sweatshirt just recently, today's Sunday, so 2 days ago, on the 22nd of August, 2025, Earl Sweatshirt dropped his 5th studio album, I believe, and it's called Live, Love, Laugh? Is it in that order? I really don't want to mess it up. We gotta double check now. Live, Laugh, Love. To be honest, going into this music reaction, this talk, this music dissection, to be fully transparent with you guys, Earl Sweatshirt is one of my favorite artists of all time. So I have already listened to the album. I think I've gone through it maybe 2 or 3 times in totality because it's a short album. It's only 25 minutes in length. So it's very easily digestible. But at the same time, it's easily digestible in the sense it doesn't take long to listen to it. But it is hard to digest because it is Earl Sweatshirt, who is a prophet, who is a poet, who is a philosopher of this lifetime. And so, I listened to it 2 or 3 times, but I don't even know entirely what he said. I didn't catch all of the lyrics. I mean, I have made the reference before, and I will go to the grave saying this any single time I listen to his music, is that Earl is so complex in nature, the way that he writes, the way that he spits his bars, how he chooses to rap in his songs. You have to study him like you're studying the Bible. It's complex, there's layers. It's suited for a mind like myself because I like to look at things in a deeper manner, a deeper context. I like to go underneath the surface and really unravel what's there that maybe people aren't looking at or seeking out, with their untrained eyes or their untrained senses. I think Earl is an artist in a day and age where we're losing authenticity, we're losing depth, we're losing perspective, reasoning, a bunch of different things. Earl is an artist that has stuck to that and has not lost that. And so I think listening to his music is obviously refreshing and is a breath of fresh air. But he came out with a music video for TOURMALINE. I don't know how to pronounce that word. So we're going to go through, we're going to watch the music video, we're going to listen to this song once again. Like I said, I'm being honest and transparent with you guys. I've already gone through the album 2 or 3 times. It's only continued to grow on me. I think every listen with Earl, you're going to get more substance. You're going to get more things that you might be able to cling on to. So yes, technically it's not a first reaction to this song, but it's the first time that I'm watching the official music video. I have Genius pulled up. We might go through his lyrics. I'll probably listen to this 2 times. I'll do one with the music video, and then I'll go through a second time and just try and process the sound. Yeah, here recently, I've been doing a lot of Tom McDonald. Hardy was last week, but Earl is one of the most impactful artists and musicians that I've ever listened to. And so we have to honor this man on the channel because he just recently dropped a project. So yeah, let's get into it. No more dilly-dallying. It is Earl Sweatshirt. The song is TOURMALINE. Hopefully I'm saying that right. It's the official music video off of his new album, Live, Laugh, Love. I got it right this time. All right, here we go.
That's type I'm finna be out. I thought I told you geek down. Trouble following me around. Everybody wanna be Bowser. I'm coming to the seat out. The fire come through me now. Pitch black tourmaline tie. Wish you found me on the street. She ride. Keep my feet grinding. for my sweet child. Struggle not a team sport, you're not afforded recourse. Of course I had to rewrite. Stories wasn't unfound, in multitudes of one, I'm never done counting up drives. The sun bouncing through the fun houses, I got used to the come down, at least I finally jumped out. Both ears ringing with your love. Both my ears ringing with your love. Ghost in the shell, you a hell of a host. We set up a post outside of the settlement with whatever niggas could want. Golden intel, it's heavy to know everything goes, but it's better to. Less to be a lesson, prerequisite to getting in the door is never letting them be selling you short. Let's get it. I've been here before, it's been a minute. Familiar with it all, it's more chillin' than a bar for good riddance. The muzzle isn't on the dog, the muzzles wouldn't get it from their guards. It's a different feeling. Spirit and heart, this ain't relenting. Evidently to a fault, which obviously gonna cause all kind of switching. Coming to my senses. I'm finna be out, I thought I told you geek down. Trouble following me around. Everybody wanna be Bowser, I'm coming to see now. The fire come through me now. Pitch black TOURMALINE tie, she found me on the street, she lied. Keep my feet grinding for my sweet child. Struggle not a team sport, you're not afforded recourse. Of course I had to rewrite. Stories wasn't unfound, in multitudes of one, I'm never done counting up drives. The sun bouncing through the fun houses, I got used to the come down, at least I finally jumped out. Both ears ringing with your love. Both my ears ringing with your love.
That's adorable. That's fucking adorable. Oh shit, he's got a tattoo of... Is that Ann One? Is that Shaq's logo? I can't fucking remember. Earl. Dude. There it is. TOURMALINE official music video from Earl Sweatshirt off of the new album Live, Laugh, Love. So to comment on the music video, I could be wrong. I wonder if he is referencing to the relationship that he has with his now wife, because he said something about somebody finding him in the streets and picking him up when he was in the streets, presumably like at his worst. Actually yesterday too, I watched this, I haven't gotten all the way through, but I watched this interview that he did talking about his new album, and he's talking about fatherhood, he's talking about his marriage with his wife and whatnot. It just seems like in a lot of ways Earl Sweatshirt has really changed. I mean, you think about the second album that he came out with in 2015, I Don't Like Shit, I Don't Go Outside, to now 2025, so 10 years later, and the album is titled as the cliche, Live, Laugh, Love. So Earl has essentially come a very far, long way to obtain this perspective. He talked about in the podcast that he's got 2 kids. One is like a newborn, and then the other one might be like 2, 3, or 4 years old. And I don't know how long he's been married, but it feels like this song, or at least parts of this song, and then you watch the music video, and it's this guy going up against this girl on the basketball court, and she's like holding her own, she's defending him. There's a part in the music video where she blocks the basketball. I wonder if he's referencing to the relationship with his wife. This is where we're going to have to go into the lyrics a little bit, so thank goodness we have Genius here. I'm not going to try and dive too deep into it because I think that would take all day, but I'm going to at least try and decipher and gather some type of meaning. So the intro, it's gots to, and then we go into the chorus. I'm finna be out. I thought I told you geek down. Trouble follow me round. Everybody wanna be Bowser. I'm throwing another seed out. The fire comfort me now. Pitch black Tourmaline towers. She found me on the streets. She laughed, kept my feet grounded for my sweet child. Struggle, not a team sport. You're not afforded recourse. Of course, I had to reroute. Stories wasn't unfounded. Multitudes of one. I'm never done. Counting up drowsy. Your son bouncing through the fun houses. I got used to the come down. I leaped around and jumped out. See, this is where this motherfucker is a fucking prophet, is a fucking poet. How in the hell are you supposed to decipher all of what he just said? Let's go over some of it, though. I'm throwing another seed out. The fire comfort me now. Is he talking about Earl and Ada got married while he was writing this album and just recently had their second child? While everyone else wants to be the best rapper, his capacity to create life, both a life for himself and literally having children and be a good father, has had a much more profound effect on him than all his talent, impact, and influence as a prodigious musician could ever hope for. Everyone wants to be Bowser, but Earl has become Shigeru Miyamoto, creating life, the game, crafting worlds, and being an ultimate source of power through his inherent nature. In the words of Frank Ocean, what's a king to a god? The correct lyric is the fire come through me now. So it's not the fire comfort me now, the fire come through me now. Pitch black Tourmaline towers. Tourmaline is a gemstone formed when boron is compounded with various minerals. Though Earl and his wife both have quite diverse backgrounds, with him being half South African and growing up Buddhist, and his wife Ada being of East African descent and growing up in a Muslim household in Nebraska. They are both black. Black tourmaline is believed to repel negative energy, provide protection, and serve as a grounding force amongst those who believe in the power of crystals. In this context, Earl is both outlining and acknowledging he and Ada's role and responsibility as parents, them combining their elements or minerals to be more scientifically accurate, to create a new gemstone as a metaphor for their recent marriage, as well as the process of conception / childbirth, likening their union to a fusion from the cartoon Steven Universe. That's beautiful, man. That's a beautiful way to put it, only in the chorus. I mean, we haven't even gotten to the first verse just yet, but in that depth of what he's saying pretty much outlines the whole meaning of this song. Tourmaline, him and his wife unifying their lives together, getting married, having children. He has become a father, presumably since we saw him on his last album with Vior Dyer, which was with The Alchemist, although maybe at that point in time he was just starting to have his first kid. I mean, I can't recall. I don't think I'm entirely accurate on that time frame, but nonetheless, you know, his last two projects is now where Earl is starting to really embrace fatherhood, and you can just see it on his face. You can hear it in his music. You know, when I was watching that podcast, you can just tell that Earl, again, like I said, has come a very long way in 10 years from I don't like shit, I don't go outside. I mean, I think this man has had a full-blown transformation. And this is what makes it even more sad about Mac Miller, who is, you know, arguably my favorite artist, my favorite musician, and then Earl is the close second. Is both of them we're close to the same age, you know, and then Mac passed away at like 26. And just to think about how Earl went through a lot of shit. Same thing with Mac Miller, and yet Earl has been able to overcome a lot of things, get out of that terrible headspace, that bad, negative headspace. I mean, you think of albums like I don't like shit. I don't go outside. Some rap songs, you know, even maybe a little bit of Feet of Clay, even maybe a little bit of Sick, exclamation point, that dropped in 2022. And just the growth, the expansion, the evolution of this man is really remarkable. And it just makes it even more sad with Mac Miller. I mean, you can't guarantee anything in life. I don't know what would have happened to Mac if he was able to get through that time and surpass his issues and get away from the heavy drug use. But Earl, we're seeing it with Earl. He's a shining example. And I just think for Mac Miller, it's like, man, if he would have been able to stick the course, I really do think he would have gotten away from those vices and those things that were ultimately hurting him and, you know, slowly killing him. I mean, I don't think, you know, he did the whole drug overdose thing on purpose. I choose to believe that it was accidental, because it seemed like, you know, he was starting to formulate a better headspace when Swimming came out. And, you know, he had a month after Swimming was released where he was still alive, and he was going out and playing like tiny shows, and he was going to go on tour. He seemed to be doing all right, but sometimes seem to be doing all right can be a little bit misleading. None of us really know what was going on in his headspace when he passed away. I choose to believe, though, that it was accidental. I just think that Mac would have overcome those things at some point in time, because we're seeing it with Earl Sweatshirt. Like, this is really, really refreshing and good to hear from this man. I mean, for these guys, I grew up with Mac. I grew up with Earl. I grew up with Tyler. I grew up with a lot of these artists. Like, ever since I was in high school, they were like right around the same age, maybe a little bit older. And so it's like, I feel this attachment in a lot of ways, which is terrible to say, because I never met Mac. I never met Tyler. I never met Earl, but I essentially grew up with their music. So I'm watching them live out their own transformation, going at their own pace, setting their own pace. And you have this attachment. You have this affinity to these artists, and I've always been rooting for them. I was always rooting for Mac. I was always rooting for Earl. And then, like, for me in my own personal life, like, I've obviously gone through my own shit. I still continue to go through shit as I get older, and a lot of their music has really comforted me in those times where things were dark, where things were not bright. And so I think that's the biggest thing that we're taking away from this song, but also this album. I mean, there's still moments on this album, I feel like, where Earl is questioning things. Definitely doesn't sound like a depressing or a sad sound. It seems to be a lot healthier in a lot of ways. So we go to the pre-chorus. Both ears ringing with your love. Both my ears ringing with your love. He's got to be talking about his wife again. Then we actually go into the first actual verse, and the only verse on the track. So it's literally made up of the intro, the chorus, the post-chorus, and then we get a verse. So in his verse, it says, ghost in the shell, you a hell of a host. We set up a post outside of the settlement with whatever N-words could want. Golden intel. It's heavy to know everything goes, but it's better to vestibule lesson prerequisite be getting in the doors, never letting them be selling you short. Let's get it. I've been in here before. It's been a minute. Familiar with it all. It's bone chilling and a bar for good riddance. The muzzle isn't on the dog. The muscles wouldn't get it from the gods. It's a different feeling. Spirit and heart, that's unrelenting. Evidently to a fault, which obviously going to cause all kind of switching, come into my senses. Again, dude, my brain hurts just trying to read that and decipher that and try and understand what he's saying and what he means. Let's just look at one of the lyrics. Vestibule lesson, prerequisite, be getting in the doors, never let them be selling you short. Let's get it. A vestibule is the space between the main entrance doors of a building and a second set of doors that actually enters into the space. A small in-between lobby, essentially, an entrance court originating from ancient Rome. Earl drops the vegetable lesson here. I feel like I'm saying vegetable. I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right. To get into those next doors and hold space where you actually want to be, it's as simple as never letting yourself be sold short. Know your potential, your value, your worth. Get in those doors. If you ain't in there yet, then let's get it. It's pieces to a puzzle. When you're listening to it and you like start to catch some of the lyrics, it's like you catch a little bit, and it's like cookie crumbs. And it's like the more cookie crumbs you get, you start to follow the trail of cookie crumbs, and then you kind of assemble the lyrics together, and then you finally somewhat assemble and understand the bar that he just put out there. This man is the king of brevity. Short but impactful. His lyrics, the song structure, a lot of his projects in recent years have been incredibly short. Like, let's go look at them. I'm going to pull it up on Apple Music, and we're going to see the runtime for each of his albums. He's the king of brevity, and he's the king of keeping it short, which in a weird way, I feel like gives you more substance. Because if you're an artist, a musician, any creative person that's just putting a bunch of shit out there, what are you actually saying? It's like the albums, the artists that put out albums that are like 20 tracks and the runtime of the album is like an hour and 20 minutes. How do you expect people to like listen to that? We're so busy in our lives with how fast the world is moving, with the pace of technology, with the running of AI. There's no way that I can sit down and listen to a project from start to finish that is that long. 25 minutes though, I can digest that, and I can listen to that 2 or 3 times in a day if it's like the weekend or something, and it makes it more, because it's shorter, it makes it more impactful what he is saying. And I feel like Earl, in all of his complexity, there are still so many moments throughout his songs, throughout his projects where, yes, there is complexity, but he also will give you nuggets and moments throughout his tracks and albums where he just fucking hits you in the face with a bar that's a lot more simplistic, and you're like, oh, you're like, God damn it, man, you've done it again. Earl has such balance between all of these different elements, man. Like, he's a wizard, he's a chemist. That's why him and Alchemist do so well together. I mean, Alchemist is amazing as a producer, regardless, you know, of anybody that he works with. But one of my favorite tandems in rap and hip hop still to this day is the Alchemist and Earl Sweatshirt. Okay, let's go look up the length of his projects. Because I feel like when he went to some rap songs, I feel like that was the moment where he started to fit into this more compact, concise, brevity-ridden space of making music. And now that's just kind of the norm for him. Like, I don't know if we're ever going to get a lengthy project from Earl Sweatshirt. Okay, so starting with Live, Laugh, and Love, it's 11 tracks, and it's technically 24 minutes. Maybe it's over 24, it's closer to 25, but on Apple Music, it says 11 songs, 24 minutes. That's under half an hour. Then we go to Vior Dyer, 11 songs, 26 minutes. Okay, so roughly the same time. Same amount of tracks, a little bit longer, but still under half an hour. Then you go to Sick, 2022. 10 songs, 24 minutes. This man is consistent in his packaging. Feet of Clay. Now this is the deluxe edition of Feet of Clay. 9 tracks, 20 minutes. Some rap songs, more tracks, 15 songs, but 24 minutes in length. arguably one of his best albums ever, one of my favorite albums. I don't like shit. I don't go outside. 10 tracks, 30 minutes, so roughly same amount of tracks, but just a little bit longer. Now you're actually getting to a half hour. And then his debut album, which is, I think, before he went on this brevity experience. Doris, I know, is going to be a little bit longer. It's 15 songs, 44 minutes. I mean, it's his longest album. It's the first album that he ever came out with. It's like every album since then, around the same time, just getting shorter and shorter. Yeah, what else to say, man? I really like that song. Again, he's so complex. It's going to take a while. It's going to take much more listens to gather more information. But the instrumental is insane. It's so beautiful. It's so hypnotic. I mean, I would say out of all of the songs that I listened to on the album, the two that I just wasn't keen on, or I'm not keen on just yet, would be the first one, which is GSW versus SAC, which sounds like a basketball reference, like Golden State Warriors versus Sacramento Kings. And then the other one I wasn't too keen on was Crisco, but like every other song I felt like I really enjoyed. And I'm assuming those two songs that I just talked about, they're probably going to grow on me at some point. They're probably going to make more sense. Going back to some rap songs, I remember listening to that and I'm like, there were a few songs that I wasn't keen on at first, but then they grew on me. Like I think Red Water is a very tough song to get through, but in the context of the album, it fits. And so that's probably what these songs are going to do on Live, Laugh, Love. But he knows how to structure an album, how to make it all make sense. I just can't say enough good things about him as an artist, man. And it's just so refreshing to see him in this headspace. He battled through a lot. I don't think any person in their right mind that's young and then all of a sudden achieves fame and notoriety, like how are you supposed to handle that? We've seen so many young stars, whether it was music or in the movies or on TV shows, completely be destructive with their life path moving forward because it's not natural to be in the limelight. It's a lot healthier to do it in a way like Joe Rogan did it, right? Like he didn't really achieve that fame and notoriety until he was much older, especially with the podcast, even though before that he was known as a comedian, a UFC commentator. He did Fear Factor, and that's really where he kind of started to get recognized. But with Joe Rogan's podcast, that's what really took him to new heights. And by that time, he was into his 40s, he was into his 50s. And so he had been well adjusted to this thing called life. When you're that young, Earl Sweatshirt, man, I just remember Odd Future, Loiter Squad, Gulf Wang, Wolfgang, Flogna, like all that stuff. They were on the rise back in, 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013. And I was in high school, man. I was just watching this movement explode. And I was so captivated by this whole thing that they were doing. And it just gives you a lot of hope to know that he's come out of a really bad headspace. He dealt with all of that pressure, getting sent away to a boys' school in a whole different country. Was it in Samoa or something like that by his mom? And then everybody talking about free Earl, get him back in with a group of guys and start making music and start making and producing content once again. I just remember his freshman album, Doris. It was such a highly anticipated album when it dropped in 2013. I was starting, I think, my junior year of high school. It was like August or September. It was early into the school year. And I remember just being so geeked out when Doris dropped. When was the official release date? I want to get this right. It was August 20th of 2013. He dropped Live, Laugh, Love on August 22nd of 2025. So his last album he just dropped, that's 12 years essentially after to the date of his first album coming out. it's just encouraging to see that he's gotten himself through all of these things. Remember, like, his dad passed away. That was a lot of the shit that he was talking about on some rap songs, was going to his dad's funeral, carrying his casket, you know, feeling so out of place. There was a point in time, was it in like 2015, 2016, somewhere in there, where like he had to stop touring because he was having so much like anxiety and like panic moments and, you know, being severely depressed. I mean, I don't like shit. I don't go outside. That is a depressive title even in and of itself. And he's gotten through all of it. It's really inspiring for me because I feel like this year at 28 years old, it's been really challenging for me. And it just shows you like things in life, like it's never going to be perfect. Like there's always going to be sets of different challenges that you're going through or different problems that you're facing, but you can always get through those things. You can always strive to get better. And I'm just so happy for Earl, man. I'm just so happy for him as a person, as an artist, as a musician. In my mind, I know there's a lot of people that don't know about this man, which is crazy to me, that he still sometimes kind of fits into that underground category. But if you are a true lover of hip-hop, rap, that whole culture, the whole genre, you know this man. And you know that he is an important player for that genre and for this brand of music. He's one of the best lyricists to ever exist. But he's just not going to get a ton of credit because they don't turn into bangers. They don't turn into these songs that everybody knows and remembers and sings that are timeless. But his talent is remarkable. And go back in his catalog, man. He's put out so much good music. Yeah, man. I don't know what else to say. I really enjoyed the song. I know the project and all of it is going to grow on me even more as I give it more listens. I was literally thinking about like after this album came out, because on my left leg, the intention is eventually to make it a music sleeve. So to put all of my, you know, biggest music influences on this leg, and ultimately through time, it'll become a full sleeve. And so the only tattoo that I have so far on this left leg is right here on my thigh. And it's a portrait of Mac Miller when he was doing the Tiny Desk, and he's like smiling or whatever. And then underneath, it's all conjoined, but under his portrait is a lotus, and so the lotus kind of forms into Mac Miller's portrait. That's the only thing I have so far on my musical influence leg sleeve. But the next portrait that I would do, there's very few people that I would get a portrait of on my body. Probably the two prominent ones are Mac Miller and Earl Sweatshirt. So I was thinking like that might be one of my next tattoos. And that would go over here on my left leg, maybe on the outside, right around the calf or whatever. Just got to find a good picture of this guy to get tatted on me. Yeah, guys, sorry. I'm kind of lacking a little bit in energy today. Drinking my coffee, though. You would think that would help. But yeah, man, I'm just super happy for Earl. Super happy for how far he's come, everything that he's accomplished, and it's a great reminder for all of us. It does matter that you're struggling. It does matter that you're going through something. It does matter that, you know, maybe it's a challenging time for you. It's been a challenging year. It's been a challenging month. It's been challenging weeks, days, whatever. But it's not your final destination. It's not the totality of your life. Things get better. They do, as long as you're striving to get better. I think Earl has learned so much from his past. It's just an important reminder for all of us. You could think that your life is in complete disarray, it's in shambles, and then in the span of 3, 4, 5, 6 months, your life has completely changed. Don't give up. Don't fucking give up. Anyways, guys, that's all I really have for you. That was the review. That was the reaction. As always, if you guys are new to the channel or you've been here before, you got all the way through the reaction, the video, the podcast, and you really enjoyed it, if you thought it was entertaining, it provided value, like whatever it did for you, if it was not a waste of time, I ask that you do one of these 4 things. You don't have to do all 4, but please do one of the 4. You can like the video, you can subscribe to the channel, you can comment in the comment section below, open up a dialogue between us, or you could share this content via social media, or you could talk about it with somebody in real life. Spread it word of mouth basically doing one of those 4 things really helps me. It helps grow this channel. It helps push out my content to more and more people. And so over here on this channel, we just do a value exchange. Like I said, if it brought value to you, if you thought it had value, if it was not a waste of your time, we're doing a trade for a trade. You came here, you consumed it, you had a great time. Just do one of those 4 things for me and promote and push out my content so I can grow this channel and this following. That is it though, guys. Got to get to the rest of my day. Got to get some things done. We will see you guys on the next video, the next reaction, the next review, the next podcast, whoever the fuck we review, whatever it turns into. I will see you guys next week.